Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, The Touch. Today I filmed my flawless foundation routine for all of you that have been asking and asking. I was going to do a highlight and contour one, but yeah, it's basically, they're all the same, aren't they? So yeah, I did a foundation routine. It's talk through, so it's probably going to be a little bit long because you know your girl can talk. But yeah, I hope that you like it, and if you know, you want to see how I achieve this glow and this level of fleekiness. I can't take myself seriously. So if you want to see how you can achieve this foundation look, then keep watching. So I have done my brows and I've done my eyes, put on my lashes, done my liner, all that jazz. So I'm going to kick it off with priming. I am using this little Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. It's a pore perfecting primer and it's pretty good, so that the primer can soak in for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to come back and do my foundation. I'm going to use this Black Opal Pore Perfecting Liquid Foundation with a few pumps of this sleek Bare Kissed Illuminator. With foundation, there's not really any special tricks. Get your shade match is the best thing. Make sure that your foundation covers your face, and so that you don't look like you're wearing a mask. Do a little bit on your ears, a light layer, and bring it down to your neck. Even if you don't think that there's a difference in skin tone, it's just best to just cover all parts of your face, if you get me. So this foundation is pretty good at hiding or covering most of my blemishes. I do have a little bit of hyperpigmentation just above my lips, and I have a few dark marks. So instead of going in with a whole nother layer of foundation, I'm gonna color correct a little bit. I know it's weird to color correct over foundation, but I can never gauge if the foundation is gonna cover my dark marks, so I color correct just a tiny bit, and then I apply a little bit of concealer over that. But of course, if you don't need this, don't do it. As you can see, these are dark, baggy, gross circles. I'm not going away from nobody. First, I'm going to color correct under my eye with the MAC Prep and Pine in Peach Luster, because it's more peachy than orange, so it doesn't really change the color of my concealer. It brightens it rather. I try my best not to use too much of this because every now and again I do get some little kind of orange looking eyes. I just take a Real Technique setting brush and I blend that. I'm using the LA Girl Pro Concealer, which you can find in most hair shops. I'm using Fawn and Warm Honey. Fawn has a slightly yellow undertone, Warm Honey has a slightly pinkier undertone. So I feel like mixed together they look the best for my skin tone. But obviously, depending on your face shape, it depends how you're going to highlight and contour. Please don't go online and see anyone like me just putting it on and be like, that's exactly how I need to do it, because it's not. But I don't really highlight it that much. I choose to contour my forehead a little bit more. But if you have a smaller forehead and you're self-conscious about that, you're going to want to widen up your forehead space by highlighting it. Same with under your eye. I feel like my face is a little bit wide, so I don't bring my highlight all the way up until here. I try and contain my highlight just in these regions. But if your face is a bit more narrow, you're going to want to bring your highlight out wider. Do you feel me? Before I blend this, I'm also going to contour. For my nose contour, I take my 2 fingers and I warm up some product between my 2 fingers, and I like to literally feel where the bridge of my nose is and run my fingers down. I take the rounded end of my beauty blender and I start blending my contour. Just to say, you do not need to use a beauty blender. Please, please, please don't think that you need to use a beauty blender. There are a million sponges out there. There's so many different varieties. Makeup Revolution have a sponge. Real Techniques have sponges. With my contour, I like to blend upwards and push that into where my blush will be later on. Don't blend down, because that doesn't make sense. You're trying to cut your cheekbones, not have a splodge. With my forehead, I blend backwards into my hairline. With my chin, I blend down. I like to spray my face with some Fix Plus so that my face isn't too dry. I'm using the pointed end and I'm going to blend out my highlight. I like to bring my highlight right up against where I've contoured my nose, just to emphasize that contour. For my forehead, I like to use the side of the Beauty Blender. I like to take my foundation brush and blend any lines of demarcation between the highlight, foundation and contour. And the reason I like using my foundation brush again to do that is because if you think about your face naturally, everything's really fluid and natural. It's your natural skin. Unless you have really severe hyperpigmentation, your skin kind of naturally has a gradient of lighter and darker near the outside. So if you kind of just highlight and then contour with no blending and making sure that it's a fluid transition of colour, then you just look silly, because that's not how a natural face looks. So because I do have quite a lot of lines underneath my eyes, I like to first go in and set with a brush. Tip that I learned from Nicole Guerrero on YouTube is just before you set your under eye, you want to go in with your Beauty Blender, pat it, make sure everything's smooth, there's no creasing, and then set one eye at a time. Don't try and set everything at once. I take my powder, I dust off the excess, I open my eyes up, and then I push the powder in. I don't swipe it. If your skin can handle it, you can then go in with a ton of powder and bake your face, and you'll come off with this. I don't even know how putting loads of powder on makes your face glow, but that's what it does. But I have pretty dry skin to begin with. That's why I moisturize a lot before I put any makeup on. So I'm not gonna like really intensely bake. I just put a little bit of excess powder where I've highlighted, and I brush that off later. So one thing I found in the past is that a lot of the times when I go in and try and like immediately set my cream contour with bronzer or contour powder, sometimes it won't blend well. So what I like to do is go in and set the parts that aren't already set with my face powder, just really lightly. After this is literally my second favorite bit. My favorite is like highlight, woo, but my second favorite is bronzing. I love bronzing because I literally see my face come back to life. I am the annoying UK girl that uses a lot of American products. I'm sorry for my UK people, but I'm sure your US people are just happy. I'm using the Shea Moisture Illuminating Powder in Manderly Dusk. So with regards to contouring, you literally just set where you cream contoured. It's as easy as that. Because this one is a little bit dark for me, I like to keep it closer to the perimeter of my face. It's a good idea to use your brushes in swirling motion so that you don't deposit too much product in one area. I just take a little rounded brush to contour my nose, and I go along the bridge of my nose. I don't bring it in anymore because, you know what, I embrace my nose shape. I don't want to see a picture and be like, dang girl, that's a different nose. That's just my personal preference. If you want a new nose every day, girl, go bring your bridge in and embrace it. I have a natural kind of line from where my brow bone begins, so I take my contour right and mesh it with my powder, mesh it with the eyeshadow in my crease, and then I bring that just down along my bridge very lightly because we ain't doing zebra today. I take my same powder brush and I just blend that so that it isn't so stark. Taking my CoverGirl Ebony Bronze to warm up my face. A lot of days I don't even use blush because the CoverGirl has like a nice reddy undertone. I just leave it like that, but today I'm feeling blush, so I'm going to use the Sleek blush in Coral. I'm going to use Wayne Goss or whoever it is that I saw it on Wayne Goss's two-finger technique. So what you do is make sure that you apply your blush you apply your brush 2 fingers away from your like corner of your eye. I love applying my brush a little bit over my bronzer and contour. It helps bring everything together anyway. I like to apply my blush going backwards, not too much on the apple of my cheek because I want to lift my face up. It might look good when you're smiling when you put it on the apples of my cheek, but when you stop, it'll bring your face down, if that makes sense. I think there's a bird outside. I've had this powder on long enough, so I'm going to brush it off with a Duo Fibre brush and blend it a little bit. So it is now time for highlights. Yes. The only thing that I started doing with my highlight is I use a cream highlighter as my base, and then I put a powder on top of that. You can only really do this with certain powders because some are quite chunky, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't suggest doing this with like Becca Opal. If you do, you need to do it with a light hand. I like doing this with Laura Geller's Gilded Honey. What I like to do is, instead of applying this straight on, I like to warm it up on my middle finger. I tap it on. And then with my other finger, I blend it out. Make sure you blend the line under so that there's not a really big demarcation from your highlight to your blush. I do the tip of my nose and just at the top of the bridge of my nose. I like to add a little bit of highlight to my temples. Some people don't like this, but I do. I also highlight my oh, I'm swearing. I also highlight my cupid's bow. And I like to highlight just at the bottom of my chin. So I'm going to use my So Hollywood Illuminator. I'm going to lightly spray my brush before I do this. And I'm going to go right on top of where I cream highlighted. And that's it, y'all. We be dripping in gold, y'all. Do you see this here, y'all? I like to just go in with my duo fiber and blend that out so it's not too bright. I like to go right at the top of my arch and highlight just under that. And then I just take my finger and blend that. I add a little bit of the highlight to the inner corner of my eye just to brighten that up. I almost forgot, I need to clean up a little bit of that contour, so I just take my face powder with a flat brush and I just go right up under that. Just take a brush and blend that. Once I'm done, I like to spray my face with some more water. I'm going to do my mascara and lips and come back to you guys. So this is pretty much the finished look. This is my flawless foundation routine. Hope you liked the video, guys. See you in my next one. Bye.